competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the first of the Mercedes actually still battling with Freddie Tomlinson, but he's being challenged by David Bresky in the Mercedes, which is coming into Cops Corner almost side by side there, but Bresky had to give best because Tomlinson had the racing line as they now come up the hill towards Maggots Curve and then into the sweepers at Beckett's, the right, left and right. Great camera shots can be found there, and the rest of the field streaming through. But Freddie Tomlinson it is, who still holds that second place, looks to have put a couple of car lengths between himself and the Mercedes.
Yeah, really used the Nimmo Ginetta chassis just to creep away from the Mercedes there, but then the big AMG GT4 will open its lungs and start to haul him in down the straight. And the balance of performance that is defined for these GT4 cars, as with GT3, it doesn't limit their top speed, it doesn't limit their braking, it doesn't limit their power or their weight. What it does do is balance their overall lap time. Now, they might make their speed around the circuit in very different ways. You might get a car that is better in the slower stuff, a car that is better in the quicker stuff, but the idea behind the balance of performance is that the potential of all the cars over a lap will be as close to identical as possible, and that means that the racing between very different looking and sounding cars will be very close. The Porsche out front with the engine behind the driver, the Ginetta here and the Mercedes both still in the old style GT mold with the engine in front of the driver, so very different chassis dynamics, very different engines indeed, engine sizes, engine formats, engine capacities. And the idea is that you can bring just about anything, have it homologated and hopefully be able to run competitively. Here is just a cold tyre spin, you're right, it was Stephen Walton.
Potentially, if he can catch up, the help of his teammate Koloch just behind, coming in the second of the Mercedes, although there is a bit of a gap between those two as they come through Beckett's and out onto the hangar straight once again. That wonderful, timeless long shot up the hangar straight towards Chapel Curve as they come down towards Stoke Corner. Seb Hopkins turns in. Seems to have the measure at the moment of the Ginetta of Freddie Tomlinson, who is still battling with Bresky in third place. There is the car that spun on the first lap at the loop, Stephen Walton in the third of the AMG Mercedes GT4 cars, and they're a current car, of course, still racing in GT4 today.
He's at the tail, well, not quite at the tail of the field now, it's past one of the Astons, that is the Stratton Motorsport car, Richard Taffender, closing in on a couple more. The Aston Martin GT4s, dating back to between 2011 and 2016. Stephen Walton on the comeback trail, had made a good start, looked like he was attacking potentially for third place, but looked it around out of fourth. Of the field. Unfortunately, first lap is a very poor time to spin because everybody is so close that the entire field goes by you as you're trying to figure out which way is the safest way to get back on track. Now, as the field pulls away, it does look a little bit as though Derek Bresky in the third placed Mercedes is just dropping away from Freddie Tomlinson in the white Ginetta in second there. Bresky kind of
here at the Classic at Silverstone this year. Alia Koloc in the 29 car we're looking at now is from the Seychelles. I'm sure I've ever commentated on a Seychelles racing club before.
No, so much so that I'm not even sure if you're Seychellian. So yes, I suppose Seychellian. However, that's another question for Alia Koloc. And interestingly, the team that's running it, the Bagheera Racing team, do build their own small sports prototypes, but they don't build GT cars, so another string to their bow. And so many racing teams do find other ways of keeping their mechanics out of trouble and off-stream corners. Because otherwise, you know, if they're left to their own devices, mechanics are a bit of an odd bunch. So always best to keep them employed running cars. That's what they do best. Well, there's the better of the two McLarens at the moment. And that is Danny Henry, David Foster behind him. So both of them in a 570S GT4. Obviously, as you can see, very different liveries run by different teams. Danny Henry's run by Team Rocket RJN. RJN is Bob Neville's team. Rocket is Jensen Button's team. They put together 3 or 4 years ago now to run GT cars together.
And in fact, the Team Rocket RJN were running Michael O'Brien here, by the way.
He's got company from behind as well, actually. This is a car that I don't think we even mentioned really in qualifying once or twice. The rather more upright red, white and black car, predominantly white with sort of red flashes and black pattern on it in a World War I battlefield or a battleship disruptive pattern. Car number 8. Now with a more prominent number 8 on the door, so the timekeepers have had a word. We were struggling to see yesterday, unless the car came towards you, you could read the 8 on the windscreen. The numbers were subtly camouflaged on the pillar at the back of the car. Now they're more available to timekeepers. It's the Toyota GR Supra GT4. So this is the latest GT4 car from Toyota.
And I suspect that might be the car, or certainly a sister car, to the car that runs in British GT, because it's showing the British GT Championship sponsor on the flash across the windscreen. So that may well be the car that's used in the current series.
I would think very likely to be run by Scott Sport here. What was hard about that to say for Craig Wilkins? So Craig, again, with plenty of GT racing experience under his belt, all over the back of the McLaren, trying to find a way through. And again, look at that, you know, two very, very different cars. Again, the Supra, front engine, rear wheel drive, but much more of a the Toyota behind.
Very different cars, but very well matched with this balance of performance that is used in GT racing to keep the racing very close. The two McLarens quite close together, but that Supra looks like it's going to have a go down the hanger straight. No, there's no room there, so it switches to the outside. That's a long, long way round, but there is an opportunity to cut back at Stowe Corner if he drops off the back of the McLaren and tries to go tight, but the McLaren doesn't give him the chance to do that. So not able to get through at Stowe, but now into the slightly different configuration of Club Corner, faster left and to the right, but the Supra runs wide, running out now onto the Hamilton straight, and that little tiny mistake there at Club has lost about half a car length for Craig Wilkins in the number 8 red, white and black Supra, chasing down the 111 McLaren of David Foster as they come now into Farm and Upton Village. Another opportunity here for Craig Wilkins. He's going to go wide, but he cut back and try and go alongside. Now he hasn't got the opportunity to do that, but now he's closing up, trying to
or AMG on a Mercedes or Quattro on an Audi, you know, it's become almost a high-performance brand of its own. It hasn't quite yet spun off the manufacturer is but like an Supra is clearly going to be used by Toyota in the future, at least in the near future, to, you know, is that Danny Henry in the other McLaren, far from getting away, they are actually just marginally close on it. So the other McLaren 570 is just finished. It's not as far ahead as it was, despite the fact that the Supra is all over the back of David Foster's McLaren. They're keeping the speed up. Again, coming down into Stowe, trying to force Foster to defend on the inside all the way through and then run out wide, but instead, this time the Toyota carries the speed around the outside, exactly as you said might be possible on the previous lap. This time he really got it done, forced the McLaren onto the dirty side of the track. The McLaren had to brake earlier for Stowe. The Toyota was on the grippy side, kept the speed up and swept through. That was a well thought out move, and it does actually look as though the Toyota has got a little bit more pace as the race progresses. So Craig Wilkins moves up and is now immediately, having hunted down and passed one McLaren, hunting down and trying to pass another McLaren.
He'll be enjoying it, though. That's what racing's all about. But you're right, as soon as he's got past,
I made a monumental error there. I will let him have the place back, and of course in all the out-fumbling, then the beneficiary was the other McLaren. So that's I think that Craig Wilkins was expecting that to go Racing Foster. It's back past Craig Wilkins and ahead of the other McLaren. Down the old pit straight, the classic pit straight past the Heritage pits, and he's now looking for a way past the McLaren, and has been the race 15 minutes away of this 30 minutes encounter, and we are seconds away from the halfway mark. Still the race continues out front, is still our race leader. So Seb Hopkins now with a 5.5 second nearly advantage over Freddie Tomlinson, David Vesti in third, Alia College in fourth, and then this is the three-way battle for fifth. McLaren and Toyota.
Down the hanger straight, will the Toyota go to the outside? No, he sticks to the inside, then cuts to the outside, trying to find a way around. He's going to do the same thing, isn't he? He's going to go all the way around the outside and try and stay ahead, but he doesn't manage to do it this time. But another opportunity perhaps on braking. It's a little bit tight into the tight left and right at club corner, but a good run from here onto the Hamilton Straight opens up opportunities at the top of the hill, and perhaps at Abbey Curve, or even into Village after you've gone through these two fast sweepers now. But these two cars are, and the McLarens and the Toyota, are amazingly closely matched. Just very, Henry is able to take the inside line. Entry onto the Wellington Straight.
David Foster in the other McLaren was absolutely cleared off. He had been passed by the Toyota. The Toyota then a lap ago, just back at the corner you can see, ran into the back of Danny Henry's white McLaren, slowed them both down, and David Foster, as a result, is cleared off. He was actually really back up to second, by a quarter of a second, so just about a car length between them. He's got running outside line, got the Toyota again. Up the hill, Baggett, and into Baggett.
The Toyota looked a little bit wide at comps there. It's difficult to see from our camera angle, but it looked as though he was off the track there, so that might be questioning from the Toyota, but we'll wait and see. He's racing at the moment, as you say, clerk of the course, or race director,
yeah, it would be for British GT, so some of these who he is racing against, he may have to be admonishing, or previously has admonished this season for his driving.
There is Peter Daly, number 66. In the Porsche Cayman Club Sport, run by Team Parker Racing, so effectively a teammate to the leader, Seb Hopkins.
Not his daily driver. Yeah, I'll stop.
We'll brush over that one.
Well, it's always good actually for racers to become efficient. David Walton in front of him. That single to make fast in Mercedes. And just in front of him is that Greg Evans? It is. No, it's not. That's the Aston, isn't it? So it's back in front of the Griffin out. Aston, yeah, Chris Griffin. 35 or 2? That's 247. Stop it. Otherwise for him. This is the first 2 races for these cars.
Getting away now, having gone past those 2 battling behind them. Porsche is involved in starting to stretch the legs of the Mercedes up into 10th place. His next target will be the Lotus Evora, a car we saw in GT4 for a number of years, driven by